It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Thursday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, heading towards a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Thursday podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host John Riley, and we welcome you. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can be your best friend and your consultant. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer to you. John Riley, good afternoon. We're going to go a lot of different directions in the next hour plus. What a phenomenal morning. Like the world is on fire. There's so many stories that are breaking, but boy, we got a lot to cover and it's gotten very, very emotional.
Hacksaw's head is going to explode.
Again. Hey, listen, this podcast, it covers a whole bunch of things. We do sports talk the way it should be done. We put hot topics on the table. We express opinions. When we are done, we let you take over this. So we're going to try to clear the decks to give you more time to participate in what we call Fans Forum. John, just describe for the people on live stream how Fans Forum works.
Fans Forum is your chance to get involved. Got a question in the world of sports? Drop your hot take in the live chat on YouTube X or on Facebook. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum when we're finished up with Hacksaw's Headlines.
Because we do sports talk the way it should be done. Okay, we got a lot to cover here this first half. Let's start with Major League Baseball because we are baseball-centric on this podcast. Let's start with what just happened at the corner of Tony and Trevor in the early morning hours today. 48 hours after it was reported the Padres were having money problems, we now find out the Seidler family has put the franchise up for sale. We're going to walk through a whole bunch of different angles, and then I'm going to ask you a specific question right at the end after you listen to what we have to say. Peter Seidler bought this team for $800 million from John Moores. John Moores, of course, had bought it out of near bankruptcy. Padres have gone through a wide variety of owners. This man, this family, unbelievable impact. I call him St. Peter for all the things that Peter Seidler meant, but he passed on. At the end of the day, the Seidler family immediately said, we will continue to own this franchise, operate this franchise, because that's what he wanted, and we will continue at the payroll level that we've had. And now we find out there's a for sale sign out front, Petco Park. Why? Non-baseball family operating a baseball franchise. Peter's passion has not been duplicated by his brothers, nor with their expertise in baseball, nor from his widow. Price tag is going to be huge. So why not cash out at this point in time? Now that's devastating, considering what the last 5 years of Padre baseball at Petco Park has been. It's really been special. The franchise at this hour, I am told, is valued at $2.1 billion. The franchise has about $458 million this past year revenue streams. That puts them at 16th out of the 30 baseball teams. We are a mid-market, despite the fact the Seidler leadership has allowed this franchise to spend mega payrolls in excess of $200 million. Now, at the end of the day, there are issues that come with whoever's going to buy this franchise. There's $300 million in debt that is still hanging around the neck of the franchise by virtue of the way Peter Seidler allowed A.J. Preller to spend and operate the franchise. On top of that, they owe a chunk of money. I was told it's $150 million for multiple cash calls over the last couple of years to the other owners because they kept coming up cash flow short. There is still a reality with Padre baseball that they're only getting a minute share of the amount of TV money they should be getting because of the collapse of the regional sports network. At one point, they were getting $60 million per year. I was told it's south of $30 million per year. That's a lot of annual TV money they're not getting that other major league teams are. So I'm going to ask the question at this hour. What is your emotion, Padre fans, Do you say thank you to the Seidler family for what Peter did and what the family has carried on? I mean, we've had record-setting attendance, record-setting revenue, record TV ratings. Do you say thank you for making Petco Park a destination point? Do you just accept it because the time is right for a non-baseball family to cash its chips in and sell the franchise? Or do you feel betrayed because now we're going back to the same old, and now there's risk because a great unknown comes in? Last franchises that were sold, the Orioles and Tampa Bay both sold for $1.7 billion. Neither has been in the great state that Padre baseball is right now. Remember, this franchise drew $3.43 million, been to the playoffs 4 times in the last 6 years, but has a massive debt and has not gotten to the World Series. So what is the fans' response? From my heart, I feel really saddened. From my heart, great ownership. From my heart, I do understand it's all business, and it's always been about business. From my heart, Peter Seidler is equal to John Moores, equal to Ray Kroc. Kroc saved the franchise from going to Washington, D.C. in the 1970s when he passed. Joan Kroc ran it, and I thought stood for a lot of positive things. John Moores bought the team through troubled times. John Moores, Larry Lucchino got to the World Series, got Petco Park built. So we have to remember the greatness downtown on the Gaslamp right now is a direct result of the bravado of Larry Lucchino and the business brilliance of John Moores. And in terms of Peter Seidler, we wouldn't be here today without his big vision. You may say slay the dragon and all that. At the end of the day, he spent like nobody ever spent before. It is odd, though, that at the end of the day, and I'll never forget this, because I was at a press conference there, and the Padre front office brass acted really badly. The minute after the first year of spending sprees, Seidler, Preller, people start to ask the question, you're doing this in a mid-sized market? There's no sustainability. And the Padres melted down at the national media, the local media, talk show radio, for even bringing up that word. Well, at the end of the day, here we are 5 years later, and obviously the word sustainability now comes back up. High payroll, mid-sized market, obviously taking a big hit with the loss of the TV rights fees. But at the end of the day, Peter Seidler did what nobody expected to do and got real close before he passed on. So if I'm looking to put up statues at Petco Park, Ray Kroc, John Moores, Peter Seidler. Feel bad that they might be exiting, might be leaving. Don't know what's coming down the road, but there's a lot of value to this franchise at this point in time in this marketplace. They are the Towns team, the only Towns team. So I think whoever comes in the door, if they come in the door and operate it correctly at this payroll level, there'll be changes, obviously. I think in front office there always are. If they can operate it at this level, the greatness of Padre baseball, as we've learned to like and appreciate downtown at the corner of Tony and Trevor, will be really cool. I'm asking you, Fans Forum chat box is open. Your opinion, what's your emotion? What's your feel right now? Do you honor that legacy? Do you feel betrayed because of what's about to happen? Or do you look to the horizon and say, great opportunity because you got a great franchise that has been left behind and built by Peter Seidler and his family? John, I said a lot. It's your turn to give me your reaction.
We sort of smelled this, didn't we? I mean, right after the passing of Peter Seidler, the brother takes over. He's not a big baseball guy. You know, we kind of thought this might be coming down the pike. I mean, didn't you?
I said it.
Yeah.
Kind of quietly said it. Was I bothered by the 57% hike in tickets over the last 5 years? Yeah, kind of. I was concerned because it seemed to me that they were walking down the hallway raking in so much revenue, but they were not amping up the payroll further. I was concerned they were taking it to try to eradicate all the debt that was incurred in the first 5 or 6 years when Peter let AJ do what AJ wanted to do, and we didn't get any good results out of it. I guess I was correct on most all things. But that being said, God, look at what we got. Great franchise, unbelievable stadium that has impacted the Gaslamp Quarter and the psyche of the community. So I'm saddened that the Seidlers might be stepping aside and Peter's legacy goes unfulfilled. But at the end of the day, we're in a lot better shape than we were before.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in my opinion, Peter Seidler is the dream fantasy owner. He's not only a great guy, and he not only finances the team to the point you would expect, but he exceeds your expectation. The dude digs in his pocket, wants to have a championship. I mean, there's no better owner, I don't think, in the world of sports than Peter Seidler was. We were blessed. I'm surprised that, given the Seidler relationship with the O'Malley family, that's their upline, that there aren't other family baseball people that might want to take it over. But you can't blame new guy John Seidler from saying, you know what, this isn't my expertise. I can probably get a better return on investment if I move my asset over here. But now Padre fans are terrified, that we're going to go back to the fire sale John Werner era. We're going to go back to some guy that's going to buy it on layaway. And we're going to go back to Kansas City Royal payroll levels. I mean, what do you think?
At this point, I don't know. But there's a lot of money out there. There are a lot of people now that I understand that baseball has had a rebirth. A lot of people look at San Diego really differently. It's America's finest city. Now with a huge baseball following, baseball tradition, and they own the market. I think there's great value here. Now, is the value $2 billion? Is that going to be the next top price tag ever for a franchise? Remains to be seen. But I think there are rich people out there. Now, will the rich people come in and continue to spend? I would assume so. If you're going to spend $2 billion on a franchise, you're not going to run a fire sale operation. Will they come in and hire the right baseball people? That's a bit of a roll of the dice and a gamble going forward.
Is there any risk they could move?
No, not at all. They're locked in long-term at Petco Park. And why would you leave this market?
Well, there's a lot of expansion cities that there's already some chat here about Portland and Vancouver. Yeah, everyone's kind of stirring the pot, Lee.
No stadiums in those places that I know of yet. No baseball tradition. Why would you leave a place that you now own? It's a standalone franchise in this market.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it'd be awful if they moved, but I think Padre fans have been burned so many times, they're assuming the worst.
You have not been burned the last 5 years, have you? No.
Yeah, well, have you been to a World Series yet? That's usually your lie. But as a fan, This is the best era in Padre history, no question.
So that's where we are. Fans Forum chat box is open. What is your emotion at this hour? We just walked through every conceivable angle to this sale. Add something to the conversation. Just be clear, concise, right to the point. And we've got a lot of other Padre baseball to talk about and got a lot of other storylines in baseball to talk about because this podcast is heavy-duty baseball-centric.
Yes,
John, next topic on the Padres.
Okay, let's talk about AJ, the scout, on a search party for pitching.
Oh, my goodness. They're at the general managers' meetings through the weekend. The Padres are looking for pitching everywhere. I am led to believe, based on his contacts, that the Padres are going to make a move towards Japanese left-handed pitcher Tatsuya Imai. This guy's a left-hander, 1.92 ERA, cranks 97 miles per hour. Cebu Lions, fairly good success. And I was told by an agent that the influence of Yu Darvish is going to give them access to Imai. Interesting to see because that Japanese left-hander is also getting interest from a lot of other people. I'm not sure I quite understand how AJ Preller might execute this. He is talking about bringing Luis Arraez back. But at what price tag?
Why?
You're not going to give him a pay bump. Is he a great slap hitter? Yes. Has he made himself a competitive first baseman? Yes. Does he do anything else? No. Not going to pay him more than $14 million and paid him last year, and his numbers tailed off last season, but they're talking to him. I said on Monday's podcast they should make an offer to Michael King. I believe there is dialogue about as much as a 3-year deal. King would accept the $22 million first year. There'd be an option for the pay bump into the second year. I don't know if the option is on the Padres or if it's King's option. And there would be an option for a third year. might be the Padres option based on what he does in years 1 and 2. So maybe there is some minute hope out there that Michael King will take $22 million, come back here with option for a second year, option for a third year pay bumps if Michael King can be healthy and be what they hoped him would be. Safety valve looking for another starting pitcher. They have talked to David Morgan, who had been a starter, converted into a reliever, and was kind of a surprise as a setup guy, long innings guy out of the bullpen. I was told they're more intrigued with Morgan than running the risk of moving Morion from the pen back to the rotation or Mason Miller, because both those guys were starters once upon a time. Both those guys had injuries. They have a niche, and they're very good at what they do. They want to leave them where they are. So if you can get the Japanese left-hander, and then you got David Morgan coming in with the other collection, and then maybe there's a trade where they rent somebody on a short-term deal, maybe that's the way to go. End of the day, that's Padre headlines as of Thursday from the general manager's meetings. And this guy, Padre fan, coming out of the closet with his opinions from left field, what's he got to say?
This is going as we kind of expected, isn't it, Lee? I mean, we thought that of the the pitchers that are leaving, we were saying goodbye to Suarez, probably saying goodbye to Cease. You really liked King. You know, he was an opening day starter, was terrific the previous year, had his moments this year. He's the guy that we should keep.
Creatively finance a package.
Yeah, figure out a way. So that's good that they're doing that. And hopefully King recognizes that the Padres let him be a starter, and there's a good rapport there, and hopefully that works. Although I hope this whole ownership thing doesn't blow up these deals. Then going to the Pacific Rim to get another pitcher sounds like AJ. That sounds like it's part of the plan.
Yeah, you got Yu Darvish calling Imai.
Yeah,
to sales pitch Padre baseball.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt, man.
But there is a lot of competition for this guy.
Yeah,
and by the way, this guy's represented by
Scott Boras.
Yes,
he's in Japan too, signing all the Japanese players.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, and then the third one, David Morgan. Flipping him to a starter. Okay, that's the kind of creativity I assumed it would have been Morahone or Miller, since I thought of them as starters originally. This David Morgan kid, though, he's kind of came out of nowhere last year.
Converted shortstop.
Yeah, he's not that tall, So does he have the frame and the rigor to go out there for 6 or 7 innings? Maybe. I mean, he did pretty well as a reliever, but that's the kind of thing is. The strategy of going into your farm, going into your bullpen and converting them to a starter, like, we did with the guy that we ended up letting go to Kansas City.
Yeah, Lugo. And Waka.
Yeah. So that's everything you said makes sense.
Damn right it does. Anyhow, Padre fans forum chat box is open. You want to talk about the roster situation and this idea that has been floated as to what they're trying to do, might do, see if they can execute it, what they would do. We go from Padre baseball. Let's talk about the guys with the World Series ring.
World Series ring. Defiance is thy name.
Well, the Dodgers get to the general manager's meeting, and they're getting bombarded. And Stan Kasten, the CEO, just kind of unraveled in Vegas at the meetings, met with the media, and just totally defiant. We did not buy a championship. We spent, we invested, and we grinded and earned this World Series ring. He's really in grudge mode. He's kind of steamed also on behalf of Dave Roberts, who won't say anything about it. Do you know, in the voting for the managers of the year, Dave Roberts got not one vote.
What?
Not one vote.
Really?
Now, there's no doubt that what happened, Milwaukee's manager won the National League Manager of the Year for the second year in a row, spectacular season. But through all the adversity of what Dave Roberts went through, and his team beat every one of the other guys that got all the votes for managers of the year in the polling. So the Dodgers in a little bit of a grudge mode there.
That's a fair point on Roberts.
Okay, next topic as it relates to the Dodgers. Left hand says, open the checkbook baseball. Open the checkbook. Going after Kyle Tucker. Tucker's represented by
Scott Boras.
You're going to sign Kyle Tucker, 273 lifetime hitter, to a 10-year, $400 million contract. Dodgers are shaking their head on that. I was told the Dodgers are talking trade with Cleveland, which is going to trade Stephen Kwan because they're not going to re-sign him, which is Ridiculous to me. Lifetime 281 hitter, a little bit of pop, runs, chases balls everywhere.
He's an all-star too.
Exactly. The rumor is the Dodgers are willing to offer one of their top young pitchers. You pick the one you want at Cleveland. I was told either Landon Knack or Bobby Miller. They're willing to offer one of their top AA outfielders. Remember, we've talked in the past about this kid, Zaire Hope, the other kid, Joshua DePaula. Both of them have had really good careers. Evidently, they're willing to offer at least 2 for 1, maybe 3 for 1 to go get Stephen Kwan rather than do something else like Kyle Tucker. Will find a relief pitcher. Interested in Devin Williams. Yankees did not do well. Prior to that, Milwaukee, really good relief pitcher. I don't know if the stage was too big. He didn't cope with it. His ERA was 4.79 in Milwaukee with the Yankees after he went there after the trade. That's terrible. But there are other alternatives. If it's not Devin Williams, although I was told they really like Williams because of past relationships. If not him, Peter Fairbanks, Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Where did Andrew Friedman come from? Tampa Bay.
Right.
Peter Fairbanks is one of his guys. Robert Suarez, the Padre. They're backing off Edwin Diaz of the Mets because of health issues, and Diaz wants mega money. Or Brusdar Graterol has been cleared and is going to come to spring training, and he might be a setup guy and a closer to work with Roki Sasaki. And, of course, waiting in the wings is still Evan Phillips. And they do still have one more year to go on Blake Treinen's contract. They got to get him totally healthy. So this is really interesting. The Dodgers have all these things out there, different ways to address their need for a left fielder, different ways to address their need for a relief pitcher. I threw a lot of stuff here. Quit fouling off pitches. Just hit one to right field. Give me your opinion about the Dodgers.
Stan Casta needs to call it like it is, man. They bought the championship. and like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
It's baseball.
Yeah, it's baseball, and teams sign free agents, and Padres were writing checks, and the Yankees are writing checks. Well, the Dodgers wrote a lot of checks and put a lot, on the credit card with all these deferrals. But, they bought a championship. Every one of those starting pitchers they bought. Probably 6 out of the remaining 8 position players they bought.
Or traded for. Inherited the contracts.
But they end up, giving them a ton of money. I mean, they got Mookie Betts over here, who was a former World Series MVP. Freddie Freeman, another former World Series MVP. They make the deal, they pay the guy. Yeah, they bought the thing. I mean, but again, I don't blame them for that. I mean, a good organization needs to go out and find talent and pay the price and make the deals, whether you're doing it for money or for players in a trade, to do it. And so, they deserve a tip of the hat. But yeah, everyone's going to take shots at him. I mean, if you're the number one, you're the top dog, everyone's trying to tear you down. So yeah, he's at the winter meetings?
GM meetings.
The GM meetings. Did you hear the story about the pickleball?
Yeah.
Well, the Padres team ended up finally beating the Dodgers for the Major League Baseball pickleball championship.
They're ruining pickleball. So what do you think about the Dodgers in this Cleveland trade versus the Dodgers dealing with Scott Boras?
Well, again, the Dodgers can do whatever that Dodgers want to do, and it is interesting, to your point. Kyle Tucker would want 10 years, $400 million
because of
Scott Boras, but because of the marketplace too. I mean, they see what they're spending, and that would be a logical price tag for someone like Tucker. So is the Kwan deal maybe better? I mean, Kwan is solid. He's kind of like a Luis Ariz. He's a contact guy, gets on base. Is he worth a 3 for 1? He's hell of a lot better than Conforto, and that's who they really have to replace. So yeah, those sound plausible.
Okay. Dodger fans, feel free, jump on board. Your reaction to all things coming out of the general managers meetings, because we covered baseball the way it should be covered. We're not done. Let's go from that to the other team here in Southern California.
Yeah, the Angels, trades or free agency.
Yeah, interesting to see. They're going to spend money. Now, are they going to shop at Dollar General in aisle 1, or are they going to do something of significance? Big rumor that won't go away. They're talking about trading one of their outfield bats. It might be Taylor Ward, the left fielder. It might be Joe Adell. It's taken Adell forever to become an established major leaguer. He's coming off a 30-plus home run season. Report is that Kansas City and Washington are both interested in Adell. Those teams have pitching that could be part of the deal. The other story breaking in involving the Angels is they may have the inside track on the third baseman, second baseman, first baseman who's applied to be posted. Muntaka Murakami is coming this way. Now, because of the Angels' history with Ohtani and Japanese players, the Angels' calling card in the land of the rising sun still seems to have a lot of credibility, because the Angels are also talking to Shoto Imanaga of the Chicago Cubs, free agent. So remember, the top pitcher is Yusei Kikuchi, Japan. So if you got Kikuchi with the experience with Ohtani, sales pitching the young third baseman Murakami, the power hitter, and Imanaga, that could change the face of Angels baseball with a snap of a finger. And of course, if they trade Adele and that they get some type of decent starting pitching there, the whole deal changes. To me, the only question mark as it relates to Angel baseball, do any marquee free agents from MLB want to go there? And are they going to pay after getting singed so badly? Anthony Rendon and all the history of free agent failures. Fascinating to see. But their name is out there as it relates to at least two of the Japanese players. Reaction?
If you're a free agent out there, I mean, obviously you're going for money, but money's not the whole picture. I mean, you got to want to go to a good organization. Ideally, you'd like to win. The question is how much money are you willing to sacrifice to go to a good organization? But if you're just looking at organizations, I mean, the Angels would be one of the last ones you'd want to play for, because of the ownership, challenges, because of the drug trial, because of Mike Trout is always hurt. You're always in the shadow of the Dodgers. I mean, that's not really an attractive place to go. I mean, it has the potential to be really, really good for free agents, but I don't see it.
Unless a bunch of free agents show up and suddenly they get good with the young players that already got on the field that they force fed, but they do need a lot of different players. But
is Artie Moreno going to spend the money? Does he have the money? I don't even know what the status of the team is financially, but I'm sure the fan base is fatigued.
Oh, they are fatigued with all the disappointment, decade-long run of failure. But John, you are correct. That can be, because I use this term, Orange County can be a big market unto itself. Not be LA, be Orange County's team. And you draw a ton of fans if you put good product on the field. Now, that takes investment from Marty Moreno. Takes a little bit of luck that we're not going to have more catastrophic injuries like Rendon and Trout have gone through. Intriguing.
Here's an idea. And let's just assume that Moreno's got money to spend. Do you think, remember like when LeBron went to the Heat and he brought his friends with him and had the super team? What if the free agents, all like 3 or 4 guys that were buds, and said, hey, let's all try to sign with the Angels and let's turn this into something special? Yeah,
but does Artie Moreno want to have a $280 million payroll?
Well, that was my question, is how big is his wallet? But I mean, that could be something where if you're looking to change the future of the franchise overnight, that's one scenario.
Okay. Fans Forum chat box is open. Orange County Angel fans, feel free wherever you're watching us, jump on board as we cover Major League Baseball. We're not done. Rumor mill is just working overtime. Let's just quickly go through some hot topics here.
Yeah, there's your guy, Sean. Scott Boras.
Your guy has had a lot to say in the first 2 days of the GM meetings in Vegas. They set up this corner in the lobby. And they set up a banner with Scott Boras's logo for his firm.
Oh, my God.
And then they put out on public media, press conference, Scott Boras, 1 p.m.
No way.
And he is telling you what he thinks. Scott Boras went public first day of the GM meetings. And, of course, he ran through the dialogue of all of his clients. Cody Bellinger, 5-tool all-star. Yankees want to keep him. Boras is talking to the Yankees and everybody else. The polar bear, Pete Alonso, he said, power hitter payday coming. Interesting story. Phillies interested in Pete Alonso. Could you imagine that in that yard? Orioles, who desperately need a veteran presence with power in their young batting order, they're interested. And the one that makes the most sense to me, see the Green Monster, Fenway Park?
Oh,
Red Sox.
Wow.
So keep an eye on Pete Alonso. And of course, Boras represents the Japanese left-handed pitcher Imai. Going to be interesting to see how this works out. Second day of press conferences, Scott Boras holds a whole dialogue addressing the media about gambling. That's all he talked about.
Good.
And he indicated Major League Baseball, despite all of its deals with casinos and everything, has to get in place a complete ban on that type of betting where you make a small individual bet on one pitch, one at bat, whatever. Get rid of it, get it out of baseball, because Boras says the integrity of this game is more important than anything else. And he believes this is the tip of the iceberg, that this mess with the Cleveland pitchers could be repeated virtually anywhere. Just, quote, end prop betting in baseball. So that's what he had to say there. Briefly elsewhere, let's start with the Boston Red Sox logo. 2 storylines, Boston. Craig Breslow, their new general manager. We will get a first baseman. Sure does look like Pete Alonso, Fenway Park. And we will get a pitcher. Rumors everywhere because they are so deep in the farm system. Mailing address, Mackenzie Gore, Washington Nationals. Fenway Park. Washington's going to trade him because ownership doesn't want to spend to re-sign him to a contract extension. I went through a list last night. Boston's young batting order includes Jarren Duran, Roman Anthony, Marcellus May, Ced Rafaela. That's 4 of the young kids. It doesn't include a whole bunch of others coming out of the farm system. They are just loaded with people. I think they're going to use 1 or 2 of these people maybe in the Mackenzie Core deal. New York Mets, they're interested in the Japanese pitcher. They're using their Japanese pitcher, Kodai Senga, as the point man for negotiations with Imai. Everybody's got an inside track of the Japanese left-hander, the Mets think. And the Mets are going to be active. They're going to go get more pitching. Pittsburgh, it's a weird story. He just won the Cy Young Award. Teammates dropped the hint that Paul Skeens was so tired of losing that Skeens made a comment, I'd like to pitch for the Yankees or Mets because I don't believe that Bob Nutting, the owner, is committed to winning.
Yeah.
That's a pretty strong statement when your top player and they're building everything around him just drops those hints. Now, Skeens has come back, kind of taken that back and said, well, sometimes during the long losing streaks, you speak out of frustration, etc. He says, my focus is trying to make the Pirates a winner. And the Pirates say, by the way, he is not being traded. Houston, not afraid to spend money. Houston moves to the inside track. I was told may have already made an offer to Dylan Cease. Suddenly, Astros are interested in Cease. I think the Cubs backed away when the rumor last week was Cease was asking for a 5-year contract. I'm not giving Dylan Cease a 5-year contract. Houston evidently has got the inside track there. And Miami, we talk about trades. This is where all the groundwork for trades is made now. So when they go to the winter baseball meetings in a couple of weeks, triggers will be pulled. They're shopping both Sandy Alcantara and Edwin Cabrera. One of them is probably going to be traded by Miami. Alcantara had fought for 2 years to get back from surgery. Took him half of last year to find himself, but he was really dominant from that point on. So that's the baseball notebook. You want to talk about Boras? Go ahead.
Yeah, I like the fact that Boras was addressing gambling. I mean, that's good. That's good for the sport. And, he plays a role in this whole business of the game, and so he wants integrity. So, yeah, good for him. But you said that Pete Alonso to the Phillies? I mean, that's Bryce Harper, first base. I mean, so is this part of the rumor that, Harper's time is done in Philly?
No, I think it's part of the rumor Schwarber might be moving on.
Interesting.
Now, I don't know that the Polar Bear is a great first baseman, but in that ballpark, my everyday DH, damn.
Yeah, that'd be hella good. Yeah.
I mean, you'd miss 56 home runs from Schwarber, but I mean, Schwarber's no Gold Glover in the outfield for certain.
No.
So that bears watching. I think the Polar Bear is going to get a lot of offers.
I think so too. And when you remember no one really wanted to sign him last offseason, and he signed late, but it was like one deal a year, and it was a 3-year deal, but every year kind of reset, right?
Opt out. Yep.
He had the opt-outs. And so all the other interesting storylines, but it's funny how all these teams are jockeying for position to, get a Japanese, pitcher. And you end up it's like going to a bar to pick up girls. You need like a wingman out there to help introduce you to the person that you want to meet.
You're speaking from experience. You failed at that? Okay, baseball fans, I'll tell you this, because our following is unbelievable in terms of the baseball fans. When you need to know we want you to check my website. I write about baseball every day of the week on LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Fans Forum chat box is open. We just threw a lot of storylines at you. Jump on board with an opinion. We go from all things baseball. Here comes a huge weekend of news in the NFL.
Yeah, here we go. Fight for first place in a lot of these divisions.
Showdown Sunday coming. Huge game, NFC West. Rams, Seattle Seahawks. Matthew Stafford is just having an unbelievable season, a.k.a. MVP-type season. He's thrown for an offense now that's averaging 373 yards per game. Just amazing. 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And aging Matthew Stafford has a quarterback rating of 114. Never been this high in his career at this point of the season. Defense, absolutely phenomenal. Sam Darnold. This looks like the real deal, Sam Darnold. He backed up last year's run with the Vikings by what he's done in Seattle this season. Over 3,600 yards total offense. They're averaging 360 yards per game, the Seahawks are. He's got a QB rating of 116. His rating's better than Matthew Stafford's. And he's got 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Now, here's the burning question. Which quarterback survives the pass rush? Because lost in all the conversation up in the Pacific Northwest, and I talk to guys in Seattle all the time, their defense gets after it. So how does Stafford hold up against the Seahawk rush? Conversely, can Darnold handle everything that Jared Verse and the Rams are doing defensively? Rams got 27 quarterback sacks. Oh, it's a great game. Seattle, 7-1. Rams, 7-2. Don't miss Sunday afternoon in the NFC West. Big game, AFC West. Kansas City, Denver. Chiefs are averaging 370 per game, but the storyline is Denver's defense. Denver's defense has 46 sacks on the season now. Denver's only given up 15 touchdowns in 10 games. You think they're going to be able to harass Mahomes and slow him down? Mahomes has got 2,600 plus all-purpose yards run and throw, and all of a sudden, all his guys, tight ends and receivers, they're making plays down the field. I don't know what to make of Bo Nix. He's had stretches where he just looks out of sync. And I don't know if Bo Nix can be in a throwing contest with Patrick Mahomes because the Bronco offense just doesn't look to be explosive. But the damn defense can be explosive. What a matchup. Mahomes, here comes the Orange Crush. What are you going to do about it? Oh, this will be a great game. Detroit, Philadelphia. Boy, the Lions got this thing amped up again. Jared Goff. He ought to be in the MVP conversation. His quarterback rating is $117. He's got 20 touchdowns and 3 picks. Offense is averaging 372. They're going to face an Eagles team which is playing pretty well right now. But I'll tell you what, there is so much controversy within that locker room in Philadelphia about the offense, about A.J. Brown's unhappiness, and yet Jalen Hurts has them cooking. Hurts got 16 touchdowns, 1 interception, but boy, they got a lot of turmoil because A.J. Brown just won't shut his mouth. Where are my targets? How come you're not throwing to me? Well, it's because Devonta Smith on the other side is catching a ball. Goddard, the tight end, is catching everything. Saquon Barkley's starting to get this thing in gear, and the defense has really gotten after it. So it's interesting. Detroit causes turmoil, and they're going to face Philadelphia's offense right now. There's in all kinds of turmoil. And the other marquee game is Tampa Bay Buffalo. Baker Mayfield is carrying that franchise by himself. They have so many injuries on offense, so many skill guys out. Starting to catch up to him, though. Mayfield's got 16 touchdowns. He's got 2 interceptions, but he's been a one-man gang. Something's not right with the Bills. I mean, Bills, get this. The Bills have lost 3 of their last 5. Think about that. Josh Allen's offense is averaging 384, but some Sundays, where's his receivers? Some Sundays, where's his running game? It's really weird. At this point, I thought Buffalo would have pushed this thing over the top, and instead they've lost 3 of their last 5. So we got all that. Chargers go cross-country, play a destroyed Jacksonville team wiped out by injuries. Chargers got to keep that quarterback standing up. But, John, I don't know which game you're going to be watching, but no, I do. You dumbass. You sit in front of the TV all day, all night. You're going to watch all of them.
That's a great lineup. Look at that. I mean, that's terrific. Yeah, I just was thinking about when you were talking about the Seahawks and, I mean, they're formidable competition for the Rams. I mean, this is going to be a clash of the two top teams in the division. But I was just thinking about your eras in Seattle. I mean, we all know of you as the Chargers play-by-play guy, but you were there in Seattle for what, like 3 or 4 years? Mm-hmm. I mean, so tell me, how were the two experiences different?
Well, when you're in San Diego and you're covering the team every minute of every day and you're talking about it every day, that's a little different perspective. But I was an out-of-towner who was welcomed there with open arms. It was really interesting. And I had a good relationship with Dennis Erickson, who was the coach at that time. They were trying to fix the franchise. Franchise had been terrible under Tom Flores at the end. So I had an insight inside with Erickson. And that first year they had Warren Moon and they had John Kitna, who wound up taking the job. And Moon was a Hall of Fame type guy at the end of his career. And Kitna was a Division II player who grew into become quite a firebrand as a leader. Then Mike Holmgren came on board and everything changed. And Holmgren was great. My goodness, you're talking about football IQ through the ceiling. And I had just had a really good time with him. Now, this is before Russell Wilson got there. So it was great to see them flip this thing and get better and better. And Seattle is such a rabid football town. And this was in the era of the final days of the kingdom. And then they went to Husky Stadium while they built the new football stadium. It was fun. It was great. And Holmgren is just a genius. Won one Super Bowl, been to the Super Bowl 3 times, just smart as can be offensively. So I had a real good time, and I was accepted with open arms, and it was a great 3 years, and the radio deal changed, and somebody else came in and they changed everything. But I still have friends in Seattle I converse with all the time. So it was fun. Kingdom was, man, that place was rocking. Big old slab of cement, that noise and ricochet. You couldn't hear yourself talk. It was so noisy. So I liked it. But the Pacific Northwest, yeah, they're football crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool that you were accepted there, because they probably knew you came from the Chargers, but you obviously have some street cred, and that's all good. But yeah, this is a great lineup, And by the way, with the Bills, I just remember that Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs was a thing, but that was a number of years ago.
Yeah, Diggs is now the leading receiver in New England when they throw to him.
But why did he leave the Bills? I thought that he had a good thing going there.
A lot of stuff off the field with him. A lot of, can I use the word diva? They could just get tired of the act. I'm unhappy about this. Where's my targets? How come you're not throwing to me? Damn, I dropped the ball. Not my fault. There was always something going on, and they just said, enough. And they were going through transition. Buffalo's gotten a lot of young receivers there, which is one of the issues they have, is these guys are making mistakes. Young guy has a good game, drops the ball. Shakir, really good young wide receiver, but not Sunday to Sunday. They invested in free agency. They got the ex-Charger, Josh Palmer, a couple big games, goes down with an injury. Tight ends, injured. So just right now, it's not quite the same team that I thought it would be. Defensively, Joey Bosa has shown up and played well, and for the most part has stayed on the field.
Wow. And they have that Kincaid kid.
Yes.
Right? It's a tight end, right?
Tight end. He's one of them, Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, right on.
So anyhow, well, interesting games. I know I'm not going to text you. I'm not going to call you. You wouldn't answer anyhow. You're an NFL fan. Feel free. Jump on board there. Last segment here in the first half, or peek inside the NFL notebook.
Yeah, here we go. Start with the New York Football Giants.
Is this a good job? Tell you what, we only got 2 openings right now in the NFL. There are going to be a few more before this thing ends. Obviously, Tennessee is open with the kid quarterback, but that's a bad team. Is this a good job in New York? To everybody that I've got networked with, of the opinion this is a better job. Anybody realizes quarterback's in place, running back's in place, top wide receiver will be back off surgery, load of tight ends, and a really good young defense that needs guidance. They're not having a good year this season. Interesting names. Mike McCarthy. Why not? Ex-Green Bay head coach, grew quarterbacks, Cowboys head coach, there as Prescott grew into becoming a star. This one's a reach for me, but I guess anything is possible. Hoodie and hot pants. Would Bill Belichick leave North Carolina after 1 year to go back to the NFL? Would the Giants dare do that, or is that too radical a move? Third one, I don't think I'd touch this one at all. John Gruden wants back in, but he's been out of it for a long time. And I get the sense you better wear gloves when you're around him because you have to wash your hands. Awful lot of toxic stuff involving Gruden's reputation. Fourth name. This one really makes sense because of the turmoil on Lake Erie. I'm not talking about the weather in Cleveland. I'm talking about Cleveland's operation. If Kevin Stefanski becomes available, Stefanski with Jackson Dart and all those kids on offense, that kind of makes sense. And the last one, and this is a weird fit, is Pittsburgh going to make a change? Because a lot of people are pretty tired of Mike Tomlin.
Really?
If Tomlin became available, would he be the right coach? So at the end of the day, I happen to think that giant job is pretty good. Cleveland storyline. Of all the junk that's gone on with the Browns, the quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, the owner Jim Haslam, the Dome Stadium, we cover all this stuff. Now this. Deshaun Watson will be activated next week, probably off injured reserve. That'll open up a couple weeks window for him to get on the active roster. Deshaun Watson, injured, 2 Achilles injuries. We know about the suspension. We know about the contract. We know about the draft picks they traded away. Evidently, they're just of the opinion that they've seen enough with Dylan Gabriel, and he's a nice college quarterback, but he's a college quarterback. And evidently, they don't see anything from Shedeur Sanders to even give him a kick at the can in the regular season. Deshaun Watson back to starting quarterback in Cleveland? You got to be kidding me. Other sidebar story with the Browns. This is a really sad story. Legendary quarterback Bernie Kosar is in very sad health issues. He's kind of in critical condition, has undergone 3 invasive surgeries, awaiting a liver transplant that they had to cancel because of an infection. He's got severe cirrhosis of the liver. And of course, he had concussions on top of it and Parkinson's. He's only 61 years of age. He is in the hospital. He's stable, but now they've had to go back into the quote marketplace to find another donor. And that stuff takes time. So Bernie Kosar's health, big issue. Dallas Cowboys. What an emotional week. The week after Marshawn Nealon commits suicide. They held a memorial service on behalf of their fallen linebacker at their facility. And it was unbelievable how many people showed up. Football only people, not fans, football only people. And Dak Prescott spoke. So did a couple of other players. And Prescott's words are very meaningful because his brother died of suicide. And then the head coach, Schottenheimer's kid, Brian, stood up and he said, we'll never move on from the loss of Nealon, but we have to move forward going forward. They started a GoFundMe campaign of NFL players. They're pouring so much money into that to take care of Nealon's widow and the about to be born baby. So it's absolutely amazing how they're dealing with the real pain. The players look at each other at that memorial service, and one of the sentiments that I was told from a Dallas writer was they came out of that memorial service and said, what could we have done? How come we did not see any of this? Talking about Nealon's mental health state and the fact that he killed himself. Police report, we know about the director of security got a text from Nealon hours before Nealon killed himself. And Nealon said, I need help, but I'm not going to jail. This is reportedly after the auto accident when he fled on foot. And then they could not locate him. They did not even know. The director of security of the Cowboys, who has hands-on access to every player, did not even know where Nealon was because it was their bye week. And he thought Nealon might have gone back to Michigan. So the kid could have been anywhere, and they could not locate the kid. And then they eventually found him. So just an unbelievably tough week for the Dallas Cowboys. Miami, this is quite a story. It's been a bad season. Tua's been erratic. The loss of Tyreek Hill, the roster's a mess. Mike McDaniels this week, as they get ready to play Washington, in the middle of his press briefing, they start talking about Dan Quinn and flipping franchises. And Mike McDaniel goes off topic. And I saw a piece of the video clip. It's just amazing. He confirms that Dan Quinn saved his life.
Wow.
A young Mike McDaniels was on Dan Quinn's staff in Atlanta, maybe 2015, 2016. And Dan Quinn did an intervention telling Mike McDaniel, you have an alcohol problem. You better save yourself right now. And it changed his life. McDaniels has never drunk since that point. Interesting story right in the middle of a press conference talking about Dan Quinn, the football coach. Then he veers right.
That's cool.
And talks about it and talks about his life. Final story. I find this hard to believe. I mean, Arizona Cardinals season's kind of unraveling. Wreckage of injuries, just way too much for Jonathan Gannon to overcome. I don't understand this quote conversation that maybe they're going to part ways with Kyler Murray at the end of the season. Murray is the cornerstone of what you're trying to do. But now they've lost Murray with a Lisfranc injury in his foot, gone for the year. They lost their top running back, James Conner, early in the season with a knee injury. Now they've lost Marvin Harrison. He's gone. Appendicitis this week. I mean, franchise is a mess. Zay Jones just put on his ruptured Achilles tendon, the other wide receiver. There's no players left in Arizona. But why would you hit the eject button on Kyler Murray? And if you do that, there's a $45 million cap hit. So I don't understand anything in the way they're thinking in Arizona. So, John, that's what's going on with the NFL Notebook. You want to talk about the Giants, the job, the Cowboys, and the players' reaction? All things Cleveland Browns? Go ahead.
It's a busy day in the sports world.
I told you.
That is an attractive job for the New York Giants. I mean, and, especially with Jackson Dart and Scatabo and Neighbors and the whole thing. But I saw, I don't know if this was a legit rumor or if this was like some sports writer trying to get clickbait, but they were saying in the event that Stefanski left the Browns, maybe the Browns would hire Coach Prime, and then have his son as the quarterback in Cleveland. And, first I thought that was sort of like a BS comment, but then you're talking about what if Stefanski left? Could he be a candidate for New York? I'm like, oh, maybe these dots are connected. What do you think?
That's a reach.
Yeah.
That is, you're talking about the 3-7 Coach Prime at Colorado?
Yeah.
No, that makes no sense at all. But Cleveland's done so many stupid things in the ownership of that franchise. I'd never say never, but you're going to hire somebody to run a pro football franchise. You need success credibility. And Coach Prime does not have that as a college coach. This whole thing's gotten away from Colorado. He's got the health issues. That's the big issue. His son has not impressed the Browns enough in practice to the point they'd even make him the backup quarterback and get him ready to play. So somebody's reaching.
Yeah, that seemed, it was out there. Yeah.
That's way out there.
Way out there.
Not there.
And the story about Mike McDaniels, I think that is really special that he was that vulnerable at a press conference to talk about what he went through. And what a way to show an example. If you have a friend that is going through something, you confront him. You have a, kind of a one-to-one intervention if that's all it takes. And maybe you can course correct and get your buddy on track. And so that's a good example to show the other players in the locker room and really for the fan base as well.
And maybe this is a fallout from how everybody is reacting and experiencing some form of doubt, guilt about what happened to the Cowboy linebacker, that nobody saw this coming. Remember, I talked about this last week.
Well, those two things are linked. I mean, if you're having mental issues, you might be more apt to, go for the alcohol. So, yeah, I mean, this is all mental health.
Interesting. Hey, you got comments, NFL Fans Forum chat box open for business. We are at halftime on our Thursday podcast. We do sports talk the way it should be done, an absolute ton of topics on the table, and then we ask you to join us in the Fans Forum. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. John, DIXIELINE covers a lot of things. The Christmas shopping season is just around the corner.
Yeah.
The hell it is. I got people putting up Christmas decorations in their front yard right now. We're not even at Thanksgiving. But that being said, when it comes time for Christmas gifts, you need to go to the person in your life, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, and talk tools, because DIXIELINE Lumber has an unbelievable display. The toolbox room. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. This is the perfect thing. We've talked about getting a gift card for the wife for a kitchen remodel, but how about a gift card for dad and get, the latest power saw or circular drill or, all the different, they have all the big brands there, Milwaukee, DeWalt, the whole crew. So go to DIXIELINE, check out those gift cards and stock up, man. Those are great for stocking stuffers.
DIXIELINE. your place for doors and windows, your place for total renovation, the kitchen, the bathroom, your place for the gift certificate for the guy in your house. Just think about that. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. When we are done with this podcast, after we've put all the topics on the table, you're invited to take over this podcast with a segment called Fans Forum. John, we got so many people that are storming onto the live stream here. How can they actively get involved?
The list of comments today is mind-boggling. If you want to move to the top of the list, put a couple of bucks behind your comment or question using the super chat feature on YouTube, and that's how you can get involved. Go and drop your live your hot take, your comment or question in the live chat on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum, and I'm sifting through these as you're going through Hacksaw's headlines. There's a ton of response.
Okay, so Fans Forum coming up. You love sports, you need to check my website. Do me a favor. I work really hard. You won't believe how many stories I write about every day on my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. First thing every morning, it's there. You check it. With apologies to my friends in the print media, it's better than your damn sports section. Check my website every day, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You will get direct emails from us. We do 2 emails a day. Nobody else gets it except you. Just fill out the form to get on Hacksaw's Insiders Group. That's right there on the first page of my website. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we do. Mondays and Thursdays, 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you get the alerts, ding, 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 when we put additional videos up on the YouTube channel in addition to the podcast. Join me on social media. Go to X. I don't know where people have been. The number of people participating in my mini polls has kind of dropped off. I need you, everybody. We got over 9,000 followers on this podcast. Need you to become a follower on X. Just go to Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit the follow button, join me on social media. Tell everybody who we are, what we do, invite you to take part too. You can help us a great deal by hitting the follow button. Give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up really helps us. Give us a 5-star rating too. Whether you agree or disagree with our opinions on the content does not matter.
Agree or disagree.
Damn right. Hit the 5-star button. That helps us a great deal too. Okay, John. Second half, we got a lot more to go before we get to Fans Forum. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Aztecs, they got ambushed in the islands, and they're going to kick off our college football segment.
Yeah, let's talk about Saturday shootouts. Are going to be everywhere. Will there be a sellout? It's the most important game of the season, most important game, I think, that Sean Lewis has coached in his year and a half here at San Diego State. First place at stake, chance to host the Mountain West Conference Championship game. The Aztecs, with their knock-'em-down big boy defense, against a Boise State team that has always played punched above its weight in terms of its non-conference schedule, but now has to do it without their quarterback, Maddox Madsen. This is going to be an interesting game because at the end of the day, Boise, I think, has to run the football. San Diego State needs to stop the run and put it in the hands of a redshirt freshman quarterback and then just pick him apart. It's going to be an interesting game. Will the thing be sold out? They're trying really hard to get a sellout. But now we're talking about big-time bad weather coming on the weekend. It'll be interesting to see. But it's right there in front of San Diego State as they play Boise State. Has anybody ever scored 100 points in a modern-day football game? Damn, that's a terrible thing to say. Horseshoe, Spotlight, Ohio State versus UCLA. Bruins have kind of come back to earth after that little mini 3-game winning streak. The last 2 games have gotten mugged, and now they got Jalen Salen and all things Buckeye football. This is going to be bad. This could be as bad as something else that's happened to UCLA during the course of the season, and a lot has happened to UCLA. Interesting game. SEC Alabama versus Oklahoma. Tyler Simpson, dark horse Heisman quarterback for the Tide, goes against Johnny Mateer, whose season's been interrupted because of injury. Oklahoma's just not playing the kind of football we thought they were going to play. Georgia, Texas. Early in the season, I said this thing probably would have been Gunnar Stockton versus Arch Manning, but both have struggled. This thing is more Kirby Smart's defense versus all things Steve Sarkisian has in his offensive playbook. That's going to be fun. So those are marquee games on the schedule. The other storyline that just broke within the last couple of hours, the new look Pac-12 completed its contracts with its media partners. They had signed a limited contract to put football and basketball with CBS. Then they added a second-tier contract with the CW network, and now they've added a third one with the USA network. So they're going to be all over the dial. The issue is they're only going to get three marquee football games on the CBS network. They're going to wind up with a total of 12 football games on the second relationship network, CW, and 22 football games and all on USA. But they've got all the bases covered. And of course, basketball will be part of the component. But you're going to have to dial search to see who is where and when they're playing. But the Pac-12, they got three partners. Here's the disappointing aspect. They're not lined with the big boys. They're not on ESPN, and you're not on Fox. And in the fall, that's the calling card for those two TV networks is football. And the Pac-12's not on any of them. So that, to me, kind of looks like small potatoes. The other thing, the sidebar, Mountain West Conference. They've lost all their TV partners. Whatever the Mountain West is next year with Wyoming and New Mexico and El Paso and these other guys coming in with the defection of everybody else, they might be on the Home Shopping Network. They might be on Cable Channel X.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell the games are going to be. I don't know what their TV rights fee is going to be. Mountain West really comes out of this devastated.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no TV networks of note they're going to be able to get their games on. So, John, pick a game, pick a topic. What do you want to talk about in college football?
Well, obviously, I'd love to see the Aztecs kind of win one. You know, we were all deflated after that, you know, ambush in the islands, as you like to say.
That's a one-off.
Yeah, it's a one-off. So hopefully this all goes Aztec way. But, yeah, it's going to be bad weather, which I don't know if that's going to be to the Aztecs' advantage or not. We're going to find out, but this is must-see TV for San Diego sports fans. But I just want to say this, is that I know Hoosier fans right now that are now Sooner fans. Hoosier fans want Alabama to lose, you know, to kind of clear some space, I think, between 2 and 3, you know, so they can have their magical season. But these are all great matchups. And by the way, that Pac-12 with the USA Network, I like that. You know, it's better than what we were looking at in the Mountain West. We were always on, what was that, CBS Sportsnet or Sportsline? And sometimes you had to watch on the, oh my God, the Mountain West Network. This is going to be better to see it on USA.
Yeah. And a poor Mountain West. You're talking about getting left behind.
Oh, totally.
What channel is the Home Shoppers Network on?
You have to bust out your rabbit ears and put some tinfoil on it to get the signal.
Okay, it's college football. Feel free. Jump on board. We go from that. We're talking hoops.
NBA. Trouble spots.
Oh, my goodness. Where do we want to get started here? Let's talk about the Clippers. Let's talk about the Lakers. Let's talk about the Clippers' problems are just seem to be everywhere. Old team that is now hurt, really ailing. And we've talked about this 2 weeks in a row, and now it's getting worse. And I don't know that Tyronn Lue, the coach, should be held accountable for what's happened, but there are meetings behind the scenes, and maybe his job's in jeopardy. I don't think that should be the case. But at the end of the day, I don't know if you saw what happened last night. The Joker, Jokic, went off for 55 against the Clippers.
Oh, my God.
55 points in a terrible blowout, went 18 for 23. Kawhi Leonard is out, ankle injury, out a couple more weeks. Brad Beal, gone for the year, fractured hip, surgery. And then there was a history of him breaking down. I'm not even quite sure why they went into the marketplace to get him. You know, they had such an active offseason of renting all these veterans. None of them are playing. None of them are starting. None of them are contributing. Not John Collins, who came from Utah. Chris Paul looks like he's an old man.
He is an old man.
He is an old man, and boy, he's playing like he's an old man. And Brook Lopez is just kind of degraded and has disappeared and is not contributing at all. And these guys, I thought, would all be significant components to go through what the veterans had with the Clippers. That's terrible. Lakers. Boy, the franchise that gave us Showtime, Magic, Kareem, Wilt, Kobe, Shaq, Jerry West. I bet none of those teams, with all those great players wearing purple and gold, ever trailed anybody at halftime 70-38. That's what happened last night.
Yeah.
Lakers stood around and got torched by Oklahoma City. At one point, it was 70-38 in the third quarter of the game. Where's the pride? Where's the passion? Where's the professionalism? And Luka Doncic is doing this whole thing by himself. There's been no consistency from anybody else, virtually nothing on the bench. Now, I don't buy the theory, well, they're on a 5-game road trip. The night before that, they lost in Atlanta, which did not have 3 of its starters. And Atlanta's not upper-level echelon. It's Lakers team, I don't know, maybe the players have the attitude, hey, no big deal, dude. Just 1 game at 80, we'll be okay. Well, they get LeBron back in a couple of weeks with hope there's no setback. But, geez, what a disaster. Let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks. Boy, I tell you what, there's a lot of fallout. The angst in Dallas over the Luka Doncic trade just carries on. Fans were chanting through this 3-8 start, fire Nico, fire Nico. Talking about Nico Harrison, the general manager that made the Doncic trade, that just fired Nico. But the fans just continue to be hostile. Well, Jason Kidd has now sound off. Said, you fans need to let this go. You fans have created a negative environment. That's unfair to our players. Their players are all hurt. That complicates it. Now, Anthony Davis, he just can't stay healthy, can't stay on the floor. He keeps going down with injuries. And, of course, they don't have Kyrie Irving. And the 2 bigs, Gafford and Lively, aren't playing either. And poor Cooper Flagg, he's there trying to do so much by himself, and he can't do it. And Jason Kidd sounded off this morning telling the fans, you need to stop the Nico chance. It's unfair to our players. And the players have gone public and said, playing at home, it's become a disadvantage. We have no home court advantage anymore because of these fans. So, boy, the fallout from the Doncic trade won't end there in Dallas. Sacramento, what a mess. 3-9 start. And Doug Christie, the former NBA player who's now their head coach, he's lashing out at everybody. 2 nights ago, he lashed out at the media. Like it's the media's fault you can't shoot threes and you can't play defense. And he just ripped them. He called the media haters and fakers and liars. And then last night, after they got smoked at home by injury-ravaged Atlanta, lost by 33 at home.
Whoa.
Doug Christie unloaded on his players about where's your pride, where's your professionalism? You put on this jersey, you need to represent better. I don't know, Doug Christie's on thin ice already, and God, we're only, 3 weeks into the NBA basketball season? Not good. What is good is New York Knicks basketball. Sacramento Kings fired Mike Brown. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Mike Brown, Cleveland, Mike Brown, Lakers. I think Mike Brown did a good job in Sacramento. Gone to New York, where they really struggled with chemistry. They were 7-0 out of the gate at home.
Cool.
Averaging 130 a game in Mike Brown's unique offense. Well, they finally got beat last night. They lose Jalen Brunson with what they fear might be a significant ankle injury. But, boy, he's done a real good job. And a sad note in New York Knicks history, I don't know if you remember the name, Michael Ray Richardson.
Yeah.
Great guard in the 70s and 80s. Came out of Montana. Star in the NBA. Became the first player in the NBA to get barred for life because he got addicted to cocaine. And his life and career spiraled out of control. Anyhow, he just passed away at the age of 70. But he resurrected his life, raised 3 kids, became a pretty good coach in the CBA, the Continental Basketball Association, now the NBA G League. But Michael Ray Richardson, you talk about wasted talent. Boy, he had so many gifts, and he snorted it all the way. So that's what's in the NBA notebook. Nice. At halftime, Lakers losing 70-38.
Yeah, I saw that as I was scrolling through it. I was like, holy crap. And that was a halftime score. So I don't know. Lee, I'll be honest. I'm not really yet fully bought in on the NBA. I mean, there's still many other things going on in sports right now. So it's interesting to follow the storylines with you. Yeah, Dallas fans are pissed. They're still angry about their Luka guy. No one likes to lose. It's like, if the Padres unloaded Tony Gwynn, no one likes to lose your favorite player, so I get it. The Lakers, we're still scratching our heads. Didn't they get off to a good start though?
Yeah, but they were playing nobodies along the way.
Ah, okay. And then Christie, by the way, talking to the media, it sounds like Trump, calling them, you're liars. You guys are all a bunch of unprofessional scumbags.
Don't look at me like that. So that's where we are. All things NBA. I don't know. I know you watch the game. Somebody's a Laker fan or a Clipper fan. Feel free, jump on board. Last set of topics on the table before the fans take over this podcast, as we call it, Off the Sports Wire.
Yeah, here we go. At the top of the list, the CFL Grey Cup.
Football junkies, I need you to find this game on Sunday, late afternoon game. CFL Grey Cup. It's in Winnipeg. Probably cold, probably snow. 3 downs, 110-yard field. It's really a different look. Canadian Football League Grey Cup, Montreal Alouettes versus Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's one piece of gear I don't own. Don't own anything with a Saskatchewan logo on it yet, but that's possible. This is a really interesting story. You got one quarterback by the name of Trevor Harris who spent his whole life in the Canadian Football League, and all he does is win. He's starting quarterback for Saskatchewan. Montreal's quarterback is a young kid, a Canadian college quarterback that stayed home. His name is Davis Alexander. His record is 13-0 as a starter for the Montreal Alouettes.
Wow.
And both these teams, Montreal, Saskatchewan, pulled off upsets to get to the CFL finals. Montreal upset the heavily favored Hamilton Ticats last week, and Saskatchewan beat the BC Lions and their record-setting young quarterback, Nathan Rourke, who you and I have spoken about in the past. So, interesting way to get to the end of the season. But football junkie, when you're done watching NFL football, search out where you can find the Canadian Football League championship game, the Grey Cup. It's kind of cool. Let's talk IndyCar racing. This is really an interesting story. We've been talking about Indy drivers wanting to go to Formula One, with the new Cadillac, the Andretti team. Here's an F1 driver coming back. This one's a really intriguing story. Mick Schumacher, the son of the legendary Michael Schumacher, who had been with Team Haas, has been stateside testing for Bobby Rahal Lanigan IndyCar team, and they might sign him to a contract. He's a really intriguing young driver, just had a real tough run with new Haas F1 team, the American team. Meanwhile, the Ferrari ownership, which last week dumped all over its drivers, Charles Leclerc and Sir Lewis Hamilton, told them to quit fighting, quit being so public, just get focused. Meanwhile, the media in Europe is just bagging on the Ferrari ownership, saying, quit beating up your drivers, give them a better product. They call them French taxi cabs. Don't give Sir Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc French taxi cabs to race in Formula One races. So they've come to the defense of the two drivers there. And the last topic has to do with the Hockey Hall of Fame. What an amazing week it was. They inducted this next group of guys in Toronto, the Hall of Fame dinner. Hall of Fame dinner involved Joe Thornton, legendary San Jose Sharks star. He played 24 years in the NHL. Just think about that.
Wow.
We're talking about Gordie Howe's greatness.
Yeah.
Joe Thornton scored 423 goals in 24 years. Also added Zdeno Chara, 6'9" defenseman, Boston Bruins. He played 20 years in the NHL, came from Slovakia. Alexander Mogilny, the Russian who defected in the middle of the night, left his family back there. He scored 76 goals one season for the Buffalo Sabres. And Duncan Keith. Nobody knows defensemen. Nobody pays attention to defensemen. He was on the blue line with the Blackhawks for 16 years. So great guys. Thornton is really a special gentleman. 24 years taking face-offs, scoring goals in the National Hockey League. And one sidebar story in the media. We just lost one of the really great NHL writers in the early morning hours today. His name was Larry Brooks. Unless you're an East Coast guy, unless you're in New York and followed the tabloids, this guy covered hockey for 3+ decades, Rangers, Islanders, and all things NHL. He's in the Hall of Fame in the journalist wing. Larry Brooks has passed away, worked for the New York Post. And some of the press conferences he went to, hilarious, historical. The only way I could say is if you're holding a press conference, your name is John Tortorella, the coach of the New York Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Larry Brooks come to the press conference. It's like razor paper. The conflict between Tortorella and Brooks over tough guy questions.
Really?
Oh, my goodness. Some of the stuff that was said at press conferences. And Tortorella was great. He'd stand there and respond. What kind of dummy would ask a question like that? And Brooks would say, your power play's 0 for 19. That's not a dumb question. Your power play's dumb. And they went back and forth. Larry Brooks passes away at age, I think he was 71. He was brassy. He was ballsy. Just a beat writer, doing the job the way the job should be done.
Well, that's like East Coast reporter stereotype, isn't it? Yeah, just like you. That's where you learned your brass tacks. Hey, I have some questions about this Canadian Football League. Now, didn't I read in the Best 15 that they've recently changed some of their rules
for next year
to be more like the NFL?
Yeah,
right?
they're moving the goalpost back. They used to have a 20-yard deep end zone. It's going to be a 10-yard end zone like the NFL has.
Mm-hmm.
They're also, the field is really wide. They're going to make it a little bit more concise, but it's still going to be 110 yards that way. It's still going to be 3 downs because that's the history of the CFL. But they are changing some of the rules, I think, to add a little bit more diverse offense there.
Okay, interesting. And then my second question is what is an Alouette? Montreal Alouettes, do you know?
That's a good question. I think I will turn this over to somebody on Fans Forum who comes from Quebec, Montreal. What is an Alouette? I don't know if it's a French explorer. I don't know.
It's obviously French. I'm not sure what it is. And then the last thing is like, you see the logo up there for the Grey Cup. Isn't gray one of those words that you always like? Is it with an A or is it with an E?
In Canada, it's with an E.
So that must be the British spelling, maybe, that Canada has adopted.
No, I think it has something to do with the founder of Canadian football, which came out of rugby ties. I think his last name was Gray, and I think that's where they named the championship.
So it's not the color, it's the last name of somebody
who founded it.
Interesting.
You hang with me long enough, there'll be a lot of odd stuff that'll just kind of surface out. Here's last tidbit about the Grey Cup. So I'm a young kid growing up on Long Island, black and white TV. I see my first Grey Cup game. I was really young, maybe 8 or 9 years old. It's the 1960s. I saw CFL Grey Cup game. I kind of knew a little bit. Well, this is this Canadian Football League. I didn't know about the rules and all that. And it was a Hamilton Ticats versus, might have been Saskatchewan in the Grey Cup finals. This had to be in the mid-60s. And the game was on TV. I think it was on ABC. They did it as part of Wide World of Sports. Remember?
Yeah.
It was foggy. They played the game in the fog, and you could not see the plays nor the end result of the players. One quarterback was a Hall of Famer, Russ Jackson, who's a monstrously big historical name in Canada. The other quarterback was a kid from Iowa. I think his name was Joe Zuger. I saw that game. You could not follow it, and it was total fod bank. I think it might have been played at CNE Stadium in Toronto, which is sat right on the lake. Most historical thing you could see, because the championship game's always played in November. That was just, I bring that up to my Canadian guys all the time. But I remember this. They say, oh yeah. And everybody to this day still talks about it. It might have been 1962, maybe 1964.
Well, there was an NFL game that was like that. It was like the Bears and the Eagles or something.
Exactly.
And I remember, like, from the booth, they couldn't see the field. I mean, it was that foggy. You couldn't go the distance of the stands from their booth down to the grass field. So I don't know, when you were watching it on TV, it's just watching a cloud the whole time.
Yeah. I did play-by-play in one NFL game with the Chargers. I don't know where we were, but it was really foggy, and we could not see the far sideline. So they'd run a sweep right, and a guy run into a fod bank, you wouldn't know where he was. Or he'd throw a pass down the right sideline, no idea. So we tried to cheat, and we tried to actually do it off the TV monitor, and it worked because the TV networks had a ground level camera, not the camera levels from up top in the stadium or at press row level. So we started cheating, and yeah, we could see it. They could see the guy running sweep right, and he picks up 8 yards in the fog.
Well, that's not cheating. That's just trying to do your job.
Damn right. Okay. We put all the topics on the table there are. Hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Now it's your turn to take it over. It's called Fans Forum. Want you to jump on board in the chat box, ask a question, make a statement, tell us what you think. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Think about Christmas shopping. Think about gift card for the man of the house. Think about DIXIELINE and their toolbox. John, here we go.
Here we go. Let's kick it off with David. And David says, hey, Padres for sale proves that Machado is a cancer on the team. You're stuck with him for 8 more years. He'll be 42 when that contract is done. You'll never build around that charlatan leader.
Well, at the end of the day, they got contract problems. And this is interesting. 48 hours after USA Today wrote a story that, quote, there are money problems with the Padres, and the Padres vehemently denied it. 48 hours after that happened, and a year after Eric Grupner said the Seidler family will run this franchise forever, everything has changed. But you got the Machado contract, you got the Bogaerts contract, you got the Tatis contract, you got the Darvish contract, you got the Cronenworth contract. I mean, I think I counted, there's 6 really significant contracts that they can't trade at the end of the day. New owner comes in. New owner comes in with money. New owner says, no problem. Proven commodity already. I'm inheriting, walking in, I'm buying a good franchise at $3.4 million. We'll find a way to make this work. And by the way, my payroll is going to be $225 million. You keep on going. Now, at the end of the day, if new owner comes in and says, no, we're a middle-sized market, we can't afford $215 million, we have to streamline this. Now it's a different set of operations. But you're inheriting the franchise, and you're inheriting the history, and you're inheriting a bunch of big money contracts too.
People love hating on Machado. I mean, do you think people like literally make him out to be like the devil? And I don't get that vibe at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, Machado is his own man. Machado has his own thing, and he can be a little aloof or maybe a little tough guy at times, but he's not like this cancer on the team. I mean, I've not seen any evidence of that. All of his bad behavior was before he became a Padre.
Well, yeah, Baltimore and the Dodgers, but his rep did precede him in the front door. But he's a star. If he hits 285 and pops 30 bombs, and he plays at a near Gold Glove level for the most part at third base, Silver Slugger, that's a star. I think the thing, though, that antagonizes people is he doesn't blame himself. He has a career .211 batting average in postseason, the most important time of the year. So I think that's what offends people. I think he's rock solid. I think he's, my phrase is he's a baller. I wish he was better than hitting .211 in postseason, because that's a difference maker.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, some guys, he's only been to the postseason a handful of times. So, but yeah, you'd like to hope he get better performance. But stars like Clayton Kershaw struggle in the postseason. Hey, by the way, what was your take on all these rumors about Tatis being traded? Did you buy any of that? Or
no, not at all, because he's a cornerstone. Is his contract affordable to other clubs compared to the others? Yes, because he's much younger than Machado and these guys. I think El Nino is 26. Now, granted, it's long-term contract, but I mean, he's a gamer and he plays hard and he's really productive. He's also failed in postseason, but they've totally said no. Totally didn't. We're not doing that. People may call. We're not doing that. Why would you do that? Why would you break up anything here at this point? You got to build on it. So we'll see going forward, David, as to what happens.
What about the rumors that the Padres were losing money? I mean, is that true?
Is that a bookkeeping loss? Could well be. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're on the hook for a lot of contracts and a lot of money. And one of the things that bothered me, and I mentioned this early in the podcast, and I've talked about it in weeks and weeks forever, they raised their ticket prices 57% in 5 years. I mean, it's unbelievably expensive to be a Padre fan. I raised the point, and I think Eric Grupner got really upset at me about, you're taxing the fans' loyalty again by
Well, you got to pay for those contracts. I don't have any objection to them raising prices if they're going to put the money into payroll.
And they have.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we also need to be honest. The collapse of the regional sports network has been catastrophic, because that's $60 million a year they're not getting. I was told it's below $30 million in TV revenue, but it's just not them. It's happened in Minnesota. It's happened in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And with the collapse of the network. So,
well, I think what happened is those networks had too rosy of a forecast, and that's why they spent so much money for the licensing fees. Now it's a dose of reality.
How could you make a mistake? How could you be a big network with all these smart people as vice presidents and put a price tag on the TV rights in San Diego without paying attention to how much money you could actually generate in terms of advertising sales and rights fees? And it's bizarre to me how they were doing business, except they must have thought that this thing was going to grow and grow and grow, and the numbers would keep going up. Well, it didn't. And then the whole regional sports network thing collapsed. So obviously David's not very happy right now about anything with Padre baseball. Okay, let's move on. Thanks, David.
Yeah, I'm going to get another one in here from David since he's throwing money at us. And well, thank you, David. Hey, Guggenheim Group will buy the Padres and rename them the San Diego Pinatas. You'll play against the Savannah Bananas. It'll be good family fun.
Oh, my goodness,
As a
please.
Dodger fan.
I'll be intrigued to see who surfaces. Jeff Bezos tried to buy the franchise in Washington. Is he credible? Yeah, in terms of a business investor. It'll be interesting to see who's out there and who surfaces as potential. But this sale's not going to happen in the next 15 minutes. This thing is going to, these executions of these complex deals, it takes a long time.
Yeah. And there's other names people have been kicking around here, but here's an off-the-wall question. Talk some Olympics with a very hot topic. This is from our friend Gordon. Hey, Lee and John, always enjoy the best 15 minutes in sports. Something off the table. The Olympic Committee voted to ban all transgender athletes from the Olympics. What's your take on this? Thanks.
It's a problem everywhere. I mean, how can you have somebody with male genes and hormones who's become transgender and a female competing in a 110-yard hurdle event against women? It's a big issue. It's a big issue everywhere. If you want to have a separate division for transgender sprinters, maybe you do that. But I don't know how you execute that.
I mean, we're talking about a tiny number of athletes that are in this category. And I don't even know if you could field enough of a group of runners or whatever the category is to have its own, its own gender category. Right. There aren't enough athletes. So I don't know. They clearly need to separate them.
Complex issue.
It is a complex issue, but they're stronger, and men are different than women, and you can't have men competing against women's sports. Now, in the whole scheme of things, in the world of sports, the world of culture, is this the hot topic on the table? I don't think so. No, but somehow there has to be representation, but I don't know how you get to that point. And if you think it's a big issue at the Olympic level, think about how complex it is at college athletics. Think about how complex it is in high school athletics. As John said, it's a minuscule number, but it's still there. Well, remember San Jose State, I think, had a transgender female volleyball player. Exactly. And then other teams were like boycotting playing them. So it creates another stir. I mean, to me, if you're going to be serious about athletics, then you need to separate men and women. And transgender right now are going to, maybe they can have their own category, but until there's enough people to participate. But you can't break down the integrity of the sport just to send a virtue signal to society. Well said. Thank you for the question, Gordon. Okay, let's go to hear our friend Callan. Hey, afternoon, gents. This is the 9th time in franchise history that the Friars are looking for a new owner. Who would you trust to take over? Joe Tsai, Steve Ballmer, Jeff Bezos, or the Samuelis? I don't think the Samuelis want to do anything beyond what they're doing in Orange County. And obviously, Ballmer has been tremendously successful in terms of getting that arena built, but he's dealing with this crisis of credibility, I think, in Los Angeles right now about the salary cap. Tsai's name has been mentioned a bunch of other times in a bunch of other places. Now, he's diverse. He's involved in so many things. He owns the NBA Brooklyn Nets, I believe it is, owns newspapers, etc., some of which aren't doing very well. That Tsai is that's a name off the top that just popped in. That's a good idea. We'll see. I think this is a viable asset. This is not a fire sale franchise. This is not Miami. This is not Tampa, which have stadium problems and lack of following problems. This is a different set of circumstances because this is going into a proven marketplace. Like I say, it's not going to happen a week from Monday. It's going to take time because this has to go through a whole series of process to evaluate the ownership, et cetera. Doesn't Joe Tsai have some kind of connection to San Diego? Maybe does he own the Seals? I think maybe the lacrosse team, or is it the San Diego Union Tribune? Or what? I think he was involved in the newspaper business. I think Tsai lives here part of the year. Yeah, in La Jolla, I think. Maybe that's the connection. Yep. It's interesting to think about who might buy, because you roll the clock back, 10 years ago. There's a lot less wealth 10 years ago than exists now. I mean, with all the crypto millionaires, there could be people that you would least expect that would want to come in and buy the team that it's always been their fantasy, so this will be fun to see who steps up. Not Saudi Arabian money. I don't think they'll go there. but I'm saying, that you could get. I mean, what about like what's the actor that owns the soccer team in England?
Yes, I know who you're talking
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
So, guys like that, I mean, they're celebrities, they're entrepreneurs. There's a lot of money that's being made in the world of business. That's why I think you're going to get someone like that could step in.
Okay. I'd be interested, though, somebody else, if not today, you think about this over the weekend and get on Fans Forum. How do you view what the Seidlers did compared to what Moores did, compared to what Crocs did, compared to what Tom Werner and the Terrible 15 did? So how do you put them on a scale of success? Never got to a World Series, but obviously Petco Park, destination point. Callum, thank you.
Okay, kind of on that theme from Jim, Dodger fan here. The only one I feel bad for is the late Peter Seidler. I don't care for the fans, the Padre team, but Mr. Seidler was such a great owner.
He was. He really was. And he put his money where his mouth was. And unfortunately, he knew his health had a limited window. And I think John and I have talked about this way back when we first started this podcast. I was firmly of the opinion that Peter knew he could might relapse a third time with cancer. And he pushed all of his wealth to the middle of the table and said, let's try to do this. And boy, they came damn close. And then his life was taken from him. And I felt, I bet for more than a year, I really felt after he passed, the franchise would be sold. Only because these are non-baseball people. They're different than Peter in terms of passion. And it was a business entity. And the amount of money that could be made now by a sale, whether it's $1.7 billion as to that's how it's valued at this point, whether the price tag is $2.1 billion, whatever. Family's going to take their money and go on with their life, and we'll have new owners here. But just somebody has to tell me, as he said, he obviously had great respect for Peter Seidler.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of the best all-time owners in sports. What a guy. What a big heart, a deep pocket. Just wanted to win for San Diego. But, Marty Caswell, I mean,
Sure.
Your old colleague of yours, likely. She was sharing this video content from the spring of Eric Grupner being interviewed in Peoria. And one of the people asked him, are they going to sell the team? And he said, no way. No, we're committed to this. It's going to be a part of the Seidler family for multiple generations. Change of heart? Did something change? What do you think?
Maybe it's got to do with money losses. I mean, because USA Today wrote this expose 48 hours ago that there are money cash flow problems there. The collapse of the TV networks is big. $60 million is a lot of money not to have access to on a year-by-year basis now because of the regional collapse of the regional sports networks. And maybe they didn't want to fund it at the amount of money that they were funding it at. So, the point at which Grupner was asked that question, maybe he was of the belief that business is normal and the Seidlers will continue to run it. But obviously the Seidlers have changed their mind. So I don't know that we were lied to, but I just had a feeling that all of a sudden non-baseball people not wanting to run this because this was not their entity, not their business, and knowing full well the price tag that they would get for the franchise would be really high. Maybe this was going to happen, and it has happened.
John Seidler just struck me as like a fish out of water at Petco. He just didn't seem comfortable with the whole thing. Part of it was maybe his own persona, but I mean, this happens. Teams go through ownership changes. We're just holding our breath that we don't get a dud owner and go back to the old Padres.
We'll see. But there'll be a lot of people out there because baseball's arrow is pointed up.
Big time.
And this, as I say, this market's better than buying the Minnesota Twins or Miami or Tampa. This is a whole different deal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's California, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's Petco Park.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Tony and Trevor and sellouts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let's talk Angels baseball with Tom. He says, quit being a fan of the Angels this year. Can't support any team that Artie the criminal is the owner of.
Well, I don't know that Artie's a criminal. I mean, what happened there with the stadium situation, he was never charged with anything. The mayor was, obviously, for graft. What's going on with Tyler Skaggs? I just have a different opinion. I mean, I cover this thing. I got notes on this thing every day in my columns on my website. You need to read my LeeHacksawHamilton.com every day because you'll be amazed at this testimony that's going on in the Skaggs trial. But at the end of the day, my impression is Tyler Skaggs was an addict. Tyler Skaggs' family didn't do anything to help Tyler Skaggs. Tyler Skaggs killed themselves. Now, at the end of the day, Eric Kay was an addict too. The club is of the opinion that they could not intercede with Eric Kay just because of the American Disabilities Act. They could not terminate him. In fact, they said, I wrote about it this week, they could not access his computer because that would have been a violation of the ADA for privacy. So I have a hard time believing that the Angels covered this up. It'll be interesting, though, because player testimony, one player was supposed to testify late yesterday. They're off today. They testify again tomorrow. I think more players are coming on board to testify maybe Friday and maybe Monday of next week. So this trial's going on deep and deep. So I just have a hard time believing that Moreno has dirt under his fingernails about this tragedy.
To me, like the Angels franchise is like that old dog at the pound, that's been neglected, it's had a troubled past, and you want them to be successful, and they can never get out of their own way, and they just are always in hard times. Yeah. I feel sorry for the Angels and for Angel fans.
Moreno was such a successful businessman, and he did so well early with the franchise.
He was giving out like $5 beers or something.
Yeah, but I mean, he was spending.
Yeah.
And just the whole thing has just gone south on him. And now he's become such an introvert. He can't, it's weird. It's like he can't even go out in public in Orange County. He can't go to home games. He's viewed with such disregard because of what's happened to the franchise. This is a man who I thought had a lot of great intentions, but kept making bad decisions.
Well, I saw Rendon's going to be making like 38 mil this year.
Yeah.
Now that's a criminal right there.
But again, those contracts are also covered by insurance.
Yeah. Okay.
So Moreno will get a piece of that paid by the insurance company.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting point. Tom, we'll see. This progress is slow. When you've been down as long as they've been down, it's really hard to bring it back lickety-split. John, go ahead.
Okay, now this is what we were talking about before. This is from Ballpark Pretzel. Portland has $800 million ready. Utah has $900 million ready. And the Padres and San Diego are regionally screwed with the Angels, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and soon the A's. Don't be surprised if the worst happens.
Nah. Pretzel, you're way off base on this one. First of all, there's a lease here at Petco Park. They're not leaving a week from Tuesday. They can't leave. Plus, it's a raging success. I mean, none of those other guys have the ability to draw $3.4 million. So, no, I don't think so at all. Might Portland be an expansion team? Yes, but there's a lot of competition, obviously, by Nashville. I don't know if baseball is going back to Montreal. I get mixed signals as to whether that's going to happen. Charlotte's down there too. There's a lot of conversation about that. But now Padres are not leaving here only because they're locked in. And why would you leave $3.4 million and what they've drawn here? I mean, this franchise has really become special in this market because of success and because the owner of the NFL team turned his back on 55 years of loyalty. Might have been different if the Chargers were still here because the Chargers own this market when they were here.
I don't know. Just as a San Diego sports fan, we've seen so many teams load up the truck and leave, in the football and basketball. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, to cook up a scheme to do this.
Nah.
But I think it's unlikely. I think it to your point, I think you can't get out of a lease. I mean, the UCLA's having a hell of a time with the Rose Bowl. I mean, I can't imagine the city of San Diego would take too kindly to having their lease, dumped by the Padres.
Portland, you'll enjoy the expansion team if you get the expansion team. That's not going to happen immediately. We got to get through this potential of a work stoppage, have to have a new collective bargaining agreement, but there will be two more teams, expansion teams coming to baseball, I would think by 2028, 2029.
All right.
Move on.
Okay, Drew here has a suggestion for a new owner. Dean Spanos offering $850 million for 40%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we need to have that guy back in town. Okay, so let's go down the list here. And this is a good one. This is from Johnny. Hey, maybe the Dodgers owners would be interested in the Padres. It makes sense since, quote, we already own them.
Oh, geez. I can't see what you wrote because the reflection of your World Series ring is flashing on my screen. I can't see what you wrote. That's okay, Dodger fan. Just feel free to pile on.
Okay, let's go here to Roxy's Vision. Ballmer is ready to buy.
It might well be. I mean, the man's got trillions. Man's
not trillions.
Man's got a track record of business success everywhere, even though this NBA investigation might taint him a little bit. Would he be interested in doing it? If you're asking me, I think there's a better chance that Joseph Tsai would be a front runner coming in the door here because he's here and he has always wanted to invest in Major League Baseball. But again, there'll be so many names out there.
I'd be thrilled if Steve Ballmer bought this team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he just strikes me as a good guy that just wants to have success. I mean, he's got more money than God. He's probably like certainly in the top 10 of richest people in the world.
Richest owner in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. I mean, geez. I mean, he was there in the early days of Microsoft, man.
Yep.
I mean, good on him. Okay, let's keep on going. Let's go here to Roy. Hey, Lee and John, how does the possible sale of the Padres impact their ability to sign free agents and make trades? As a Dodger fan, we need the Padres to be relevant. So it's fun watching the Dodgers beating the Padres.
That's okay. I won't take the eraser and then wipe out the last sentence there of your statement. The Padres have said payroll is the payroll, which means it's probably going to be in the 215 bracket. I do not believe they really want to go higher because of the luxury tax. But 215, John and I configured about a week and a half ago. They probably have $65 million budget space to use. Now, a chunk of that has to go towards Machado's upgrade, Tatis's upgrade, because they got back-end loaded quarterback contracts. But they do have maybe $25 million to get creative, which means you can work creative deals to go rent a veteran in a trade, go to Japan and get the left-handed pitcher, Iemai. And it'll be intriguing to see how they lay their money out. There is money there. Now, they're not going to go on a spending spree, but there's money there to go make a deal.
Well, think about this. This could paralyze everything. I mean, not only would you have players that be questioning coming to the Padres because of the uncertain ownership, but you're in the middle of a sale. Usually when teams are for sale, they start salary dumping, so they're certainly not going to commit to a big contract when they're trying to sell the team to someone else. So I wonder if this is going to tie A.J. Preller's hands behind his back during this whole offseason.
Yeah, but you're not going to erode the foundation of what's been a really good franchise for the last 5 years. We're not going to start trading away players because they're trying to drive the payroll down so we can sell it, because then your value is less. I mean, the Padres right now, based on the last 5 years at Petco Park, their value is the highest it's been. If you're going to trade Tatis, now your value is down here.
Well, but allegedly, if they're losing money, then that's maybe not that attractive of a deal. I mean, sure, the franchise valuation is going to go up over time. But if this is, you got to dig into your pocket every year to subsidize this thing, that's going to spook a lot of owners.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how it makes you question the viability, and it just kind of freezes things, until this all sorts out. And this could take how long? Like a year?
A year at least.
To find out, because we don't know. They say we're exploring the possibilities. There's any number of scenarios.
I'm playing the prices right.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't looked out the window yet. I mean, I know we got bad weather coming here on the weekend. We got black clouds already in your driveway. I mean, geez, this conversation with the Padres, all those negativity's moving in.
Well, you got negativity, and then you got Dodger fans like Lucky Charm. He goes, hey, Frank McCourt is ready to buy the Padres.
Did you hear the story? I think it was LA City Council voted 12-1. No, we're not going to accept Frank McCourt's idea about the gondolas in the parking lot at Dodger Stadium. Frank McCourt wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But Dodger fans just piling on.
Well, some Dodger fans that are sympathetic to the Padres are like, yeah, we understand. We went through the whole Frank McCourt thing and hope you don't have to go through that.
That was bankruptcy.
Yeah. And here, like Tony's picks, this is what I was saying earlier. Maybe a crypto billionaire will buy the Padres. So everyone's got these comments about what's going on. John Hopkins, our buddy here, he says, I've heard the team's for sale. The Silers are exploring options. Sounds a bit like the Learners in DC.
Yeah, and the Learners had spent lavishly and did very well and had a good farm system in place, and then the price tag on players went up, and suddenly said, no, we're not doing that, and then they started trading guys off and have never, ever recovered. But, an awful lot of people running around here yelling fire without anything to back that up. Let's just see how the sale process goes, and we'll see if a new owner comes in with money. I think baseball's arrows, John, are really pointed up in terms of every potential aspect. Demographics of baseball fans, younger. Attendance, up. TV ratings, up. Sponsorships, Gross revenues up. I mean, baseball's arrows pointed up. So I think we're not talking about somebody being in big trouble.
Yeah, I've often thought about the economic conditions right now, are a little sketchy.
Oh, I know that.
Some are doing well, some people are not doing so well. But yeah, imagine if you spent $2 billion or whatever it is, and you're assuming you're going to sell out 80% of your games, and let's say the economy goes into a tank. I mean, they could struggle with attendance. This whole thing could get ugly in a hurry for a owner, where they'd be seriously underwater with what they have to pay for the team.
Jeez, I got to go walk down the hallway, look outside. Looks like you're pronouncing black clouds and tornadoes.
I know. Well, as a San Diego sports fan, we've been cursed.
But that's
decades.
your psyche. That's not my psyche.
Okay, I know. But you were you're Mr. Super Bowl guy with the Chargers. Okay, here's one from Jim. He goes, most Dodger fans would prefer a Stephen Kwan or Cody Bellinger over a Kyle Tucker.
Well, they experienced Bellinger prior. Tucker's got injury issues here. Had him in Houston, obviously had him at Wrigley Field, and he's got Scott Boras. And if he's asking 10 years, $400 million, that's a lot of dough. The Dodgers are so deep in that farm system, Jim, that they could execute a trade. If it's 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 for Kwan, and it's the right collection of prospects, I don't mind having Kwan. I mean, Kwan would be different, obviously, than Kyle Tucker in terms of productivity, but Kwan has no injury history, and Kwan got unbelievable speed and glove in addition to putting the ball in play. So I think they're going to come out of the meetings when we get to the winter baseball meetings if they don't do something before then, and there might be trades this weekend when the GM meetings wrap up. I think they're going to come out of this winter session with another relief pitcher and a left fielder, whether it's a free agent like Tucker or it's going to be vis-a-vis a trade because their farm system's so deep.
Yeah. I mean, Kwan, he plays left field for Cleveland, I think. So, that was the question of originally, if you had Tucker, you can put him in right and put Hernandez in left. But now with Kwan, I don't know, is he a defensive specialist?
Yep.
He could play right field, you think? You have a good arm?
Yeah.
I mean, I just think of him as I picture him as like a Luis Ariz in my head.
No,
because he's a contact guy.
This guy flies.
All right.
This guy's fast on the bases, fast in the outfield. I don't want to say glorified singles hitter. He's got some pop. He does hit some home runs. But this guy's
is he a leadoff hitter?
Yeah, I think he's a very, very good player.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Dodger fans are going to get whoever they want. You know that. Okay, let's go here to Andy. From Artesia to Corona, up and down the 91. No one gives two bleeps about the Halos.
Well, at this point in time, but we do cover the topics and cover the stories, and there may be Angel fan out there that wants some insight in the Tyler Skaggs trade or the stuff that I dig up about who they're going after, etc. We just cover it all. That's okay. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, no problem. Wait, because there'll be another topic within minutes that we're going to talk about too.
Here's another good one by the Angels. This is from Sam. Hey, reverse the dumbass move and go back to the California Angels.
I concur with you. You will notice I never refer to them as the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim or whatever the hell their title was.
That was ridiculous.
To me, they're just the Angels.
Well, that was why I think that Artie Moreno hate started, is when he did that whole name change thing. It was goofy. And I know somewhere down the list, someone else was commenting about, renaming the Angels the Anaheim Angels. So here's one from HB Jeff. He goes, get Scott Boras out of baseball.
Well, he represents players and he gets players big contracts. He's the deal maker. That's not going to happen. End of the day, he might retire one of these years, but he's been good for his clients, and I guess that's all that counts.
Yeah, he's just trying to get, the most he can. And he's aggressive and he's firm on what he demands, and he usually gets it. So, yeah. I mean, that's just all negotiating. Okay, let's go here to Steven. Hey, congrats on the Padres finally winning a championship. The front office won the pickleball tournament at the GM meetings. When's the parade?
Oh, my goodness. You people should not drink before you join my podcast. A little early to be acting this way, isn't it? We go on at 1:30. We've already started.
I know. Yeah. Like Padres are about to lose their owner, and Dodger fan is just like
pickleball.
Yeah. They're kicking dirt. Okay. Let's go here to Emmanuel. Hey, Lee, my birthday is this weekend. Can I get a shout out?
Emmanuel, you demand. Emmanuel, you have to do me a favor now because we work really hard on this podcast. Like I work really hard on my website. I need everybody that's on this podcast to email everybody in your address book who's a sports fan. Just do a mass email and say, have you ever heard Hacksaw's podcast? That's the only way we're going to grow this thing. And we busted through over 9,000 followers already, which is an amazing amount. We got so many followers. You can help us grow this thing.
Give him a happy birthday message, man.
Emmanuel, you owe me now that I saluted you on your birthday.
Show me your lightning bolt. All right, let's go here to Casey. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hacksaw, do you think Stan Kroenke would be interested in buying the Padres? I know he wanted to buy an MLB team before.
Well, it's interesting. He's diverse, and he is part of this consortium that wants to build a sports arena for San Diego. That's a name I never gave thought to. But obviously he owns everything. I mean, he owns the Rams. He owns the Denver Nuggets. He owns a soccer team there. He builds stadiums. He obviously owns SoFi and built that.
The Nuggets.
Yeah, he owns the Denver Nuggets.
And the Avalanche.
And the Avalanche. And he owns a lot in Colorado. That's not a far-fetched name. So, put Kroenke's name next to Cy's name as just idea people.
Yeah. I mean, those could be very interesting possibilities. All right.
And Kroenke's one.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them. Here's talking Padres ownership history with O2RR. Ray Kroc, the best. John Moores, happy for 1998 and Petco Park, but went bad at the end. Peter Seidler, right up there with Ray Kroc.
Yeah, Kroc, for different reasons, saved the franchise. Moores, for the unique reason, he got Petco built and, in essence, led to a new era. They went to the World Series. And obviously Seidler coming on board and making small market San Diego feel like it's big time San Diego. So, I mean, we're talking about three different people, three great owners.
Well, who were the other owners in the history? It was Morad.
Well, Morad was there for a short time. He was a caretaker post John Moores.
Right.
And on the other side of John Moores was Tom Werner and the Terrible 15.
Right.
Who bought the thing. And then the original owner was C. Arnholt Smith.
Oh, yeah.
The embezzler who wound up going to prison and tried to move the franchise to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that Arnold Smith, he owned like a bank in San Diego or something, didn't he? Yeah, so, yeah. And then, I just keep thinking about Spanos and Donald Sterling and all the other bad owners that we've had in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. But we've had three amazing groups of people, different reasons, with the Padres. Okay, let's move on. A couple more.
Keep on going. Let's go to Esquire. Hey, what's the chance the Dodgers go on a spending spree this year and the CBA in 2027 causes them significant problems?
Well, why would baseball take a step back, shut themselves down, and destroy this momentum? That's the big issue. I mean, in collective bargaining, there's always boom, boom, boom. I want this. You can't have that. This needs to change. That always happens. So this CBA will have this. I am not of the opinion we need a salary cap. We got a strong luxury tax. I am damn of the opinion we need a floor to spending, which is going to mean Detroit and Pittsburgh and Kansas City and Miami have to spend a certain amount of money because they're getting revenue share, which means there's more money to go to mid-market teams, which means better players going to mid-market teams, etc. That has to happen to change the economics of the game. So, but the union has to be convinced. But do it by saying, we're not having any conversations about salary cap. This luxury tax will stay in place. We are going to have this conversation about floor to spending. And maybe that changes everything else.
Well, yeah, I think these teams have to have a kind of an idea of what the scenarios are moving forward. Because, they could sign a big deal and suddenly they're in the danger zone. And then they got to make some other financial adjustments if the CBA doesn't work the way they thought it was going to work. So I think that's a fair comment.
But the gross revenues continue to grow in baseball, which means there's more money for players, there's more money for owners. So why not just continue to keep the sport with this upward push the where it is now? Don't, stop talking about shutdown at the end of 2026. Don't talk about it. Just go to the negotiating table. There's been one meeting already.
Yeah, don't kill the golden goose.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, this next one is the answer to our question about the Alouettes, but I'm going to let you read it, Hacksaw, because there's some French in it.
Alouette, je te plumerai. Translated in English. Lark, nice lark. I'll pluck you. Is an alouette a bird? Is that what he's referencing?
Or a lark is just like teasing someone, or maybe a happy day, or I don't know.
The Montreal Alouettes logo looks like something like an eagle, like a silhouette of an eagle, I believe. Maybe it is. You're the guy's got the smartphone. Just type in the word Alouette. What does it mean?
Yeah, I'll look it up. I'll tell you what. I'll look it up when when you're dominating the conversation in about a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to Michael. Hey, what's wrong with my Vegas Golden Knights? Lee, they have a problem chemistry-wise, and I can't figure out if it's the lines or just certain players.
It's interesting because they have really been aggressive in terms of acquisitions of people. The trades they've made each calendar year has really upgraded what's gone on up front. I think they got goaltending problems, and maybe they don't talk a great deal about it. I do like the one goaltender they got, Aiden Hill. I saw him down here when he first broke in the American Hockey League. I was pretty impressed, but he's been hurt, and they've had a lot of other injuries, Samsonov, etc. So, yeah, it's a long grind of a season, and I do have a bunch of guys dinged up, and that's one of the reasons.
I just looked up Alouette.
And it is?
It is. It's like a lark or a bird, but I think it's that French song, Alouette, gentil Alouette.
Okay.
That's where it comes from.
I'm sure if you're wrong, somebody speaking French will be banging on you.
Yeah, they will. All right, let's keep on going down the list here. Let's go to Robert. Hey, any updates on UCLA to SoFi Stadium? Could cost UCLA $60 to $80 million or more to buy out the lease from the Rose Bowl. It could happen as soon as 2026.
I doubt it.
UCLA and Chargers have similar colors.
I totally doubt it. I mean, the judge yesterday told them, I'm not issuing a restraining order, but you have the right to seek a permanent injunction. What the judge has kind of indicated is, as he told the UCLA lawyers, this is your signature on his lease, right? Yes. This is your signature that we're doing all the skybox renovations and the construction for new stadium additions at the Rose Bowl. Yes. This at least goes to 2044. You did sign it. Yes. So I think there's an injunction coming. It's going to stop this conversation. And the Rose Bowl in the city of Pasadena have the opinion they're talking about coming up with a pool of money to try to buy their way out. We can't do that. Do they have a problem? Yes, because it's a long way from campus. Their bigger problem is the product is really piss poor. That needs to be fixed. If they fix it, fans will come back to the Rose Bowl. But at this point, they're not coming because the product hasn't been real good.
Well, what else happens at the Rose Bowl? I mean, one of the soccer teams plays there, right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Is it LA Galaxy or LAFC? Or did they play in the Coliseum and SoFi? I'm not sure.
I can't recall.
But then who else? I mean, imagine if UCLA abandoned the Rose Bowl.
Well, it is the granddaddy of them all.
I mean, could you imagine a scenario where they would ever tear down that stadium?
No. But is your name, your signature is on this, right? You can't invalidate it.
I mean, why do they want to move? I mean, is it just...
It's too far from campus. They don't get enough revenue streams. They go to SoFi, which has all these other tenants. They go to SoFi. They get some better deals.
Oh, there's a lot of merch being sold, restaurants, all that stuff they could take advantage of.
Yeah. But you sign this thing through 2044 to go through this next set of renovations. It's begun already.
Yeah.
That's where it is, and they're going to argue and argue, and these things take forever. Okay, next one. Okay, let's go to the lingerers. Hey, this is on Peter. God love him. If he wanted it to remain in his family, he should have left the team to Shield. He fudged up, left it to the brothers that didn't want to run the dynamics of an MLB team. It's a big issue. I think there's still a lot of internal warfare behind the scenes. Shield Seidler had never mentioned Sale. Eric Grupner, speaking on behalf of the Seidler brothers, denied Sale. And here we are on a Thursday talking about what happened this morning, Sale. But at the end of the day, things change. And it may well be the family woke up and of the opinion, we're non-baseball people. We don't want to be in this business anymore. And the price tag is at the peak. So let us cash in our chips. We spent a lot of money. We probably lost some money because of the cash calls that had to be made. We did a good job. And they have done a good job. So my emotions are kind of split on this whole thing. Part of me thinks, damn, why is this happening? But part of me says thank you to Peter Seidler and to a degree to the family. They have every right to change their mind, I guess.
Well, it does seem that Peter maybe fudged up a bit because it wasn't clear at the time of his passing.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to go to the brothers or go to Shield. There was confusion. You think that would have been laid out in a contract. I mean, I'm certain there was something, but it was questioned by so many. So I don't know.
We'll see where this goes.
See where it goes.
Hey, listen, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Unbelievable response. Tell everybody who we are. Email all your friends. Check my website. I write a ton every day on LeeHacksawHamilton.com. sports.com. John, take a deep breath. Big weekend college football, bigger NFL Sunday. We'll be back here Monday at 1:30 to talk about it all.
Talk about it all, Lee. Here we go.
You have yourself a great sports weekend too, man. Thanks as always for being with us on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps.